It's 7.
It's 7.
All right, I'm going to call the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. Can we start with a roll call?
Aziz Hassan.
Norma Drummond?
Art Mahoney?
Thank you. Can I ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We do have a quorum, even though we have 2 members out, so we're good for tonight. Our next 2 meetings are going to be Tuesday, July 22nd, and Tuesday, August 26th. We have 1 set of minutes to approve. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 27th?
As amended.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. There was a misspelling of Mr. Ussen's name here wrong, so. All right, we have 1 public hearing on this evening. That's all our business this evening, so let me get right into things. Appeal 4142, John McMahon, 37 Circle Drive, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 32-foot rear yard and a 2-foot side yard variance for an existing 16 by 32 by 5-foot above-ground pool, an 18-foot rear yard and a 6-foot side yard variance for an existing 310-square-foot pool deck, a 14-foot sideline variance for an existing shed, and a 22-foot front line variance for an existing 21-foot by 6-foot or 126 square feet front porch pursuant to section 194-95 and 194-17 and the schedule of bulk regulations. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good evening, Mr. McMahon. So we had the opportunity last month to review your application with you.
Can you just come to the,
It's okay.
oh, okay, just in case.
If he speaks. Yeah.
He speaks, yeah.
So first, we learned that you were a member of the Armed Services, so I do want to start by thanking you for your service, because you did tell us that while you were deployed, you're blaming your wife.
I blame her,
for-
her fault.
You were blaming your wife for the pool being put up and constructed, and I guess the pool deck as well, without a permit. So we're going to deal with the issues that were created while you were deployed. So again, we appreciate that. So really, you've been in this house almost 60 years. I think you told us it was well over 50 years. So, and at this point, you're just looking to clean up a couple of the structures that have been built over the years. So, all at various times, none of them are new. Some of them, you told us, have even been replaced. I don't think your neighbors have complained about these structures, so, it's a matter of us just taking a final look at this and making sure that there's nothing that really is egregious and sticking out here. So, are there any comments or questions from the board members?
I'm good.
I'm good.
There's no other body here, so I don't think there's any objection. Did any of your neighbors have any objections or any comments that you're aware of?
All the neighbors are new. They've all been there, come and gone, and the pool's been there.
Okay, all right.
So
So do
hearing,
I have a motion to close the public hearing?
so moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. This is appeal number 4142, requesting a 32-yard rear yard and a 32-feet rear yard and a 2-foot side yard variance from the requirements of section 194-95 of the town code and the schedule of bulk regulations for an existing 16 by 32 by 5 above ground pool to a 18-foot rear yard and a 6-foot side yard variance from the requirement of section 194-94 of the town code and the schedule of bulk regulations for an existing 310 square foot pool deck, 3, a 14-foot sideline variance from the requirements of section 194-107 of the town code and the schedule of bulk regulations for an existing shed, and 4, a 22-feet front line variance from the requirement of section 194-94 of the town code and the schedule of bulk regulations for an existing 21 feet by 6 feet, 126 square foot front porch, the variances. A resolution offered by zoning board member Aziz Hassan, whereas the applicant has lived in the property for nearly 6 decades, and whereas the property is located in an R1 zone but is smaller than 1 acre, leaving less room for the property for residential amenities. whereas the house was built prior to the zoning being enacted, and whereas the applicant is working to legalize all existing structures prior to selling the property, and whereas this is a type 2 action under SECRA, and whereas a legal notice was published in the Southern Duchess News on June 18th, 2025, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing on June 24th, 2025, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting of the variances will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, as the property will remain residential in nature, and the structures requiring variances have been located on the property for many years. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means due to the size of the lot. The variances are substantial. The variances will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves the request of John McMahon for one, a 32-feet rear yard and a 2-feet side yard variance from the requirement of section 194-95 of the Town Code and the Schedule of Bulk Regulations for an existing 16-foot by 32 feet by 5 feet above ground pool, 2, a 18-foot rear yard and 6-foot side yard variance from the requirements of section 194-94 of the Town Code and the Schedule of Bulk Regulations for an existing 310 square foot pool deck, and 3, a 14-foot sideline variance from the requirement of section 194-107 of the Town Code and the Schedule of Bulk Regulations for an existing shed, and 4, a 22-feet front line variance from the requirement of section 194-94 of the Town Code and the Schedule of Bulk regulations for an existing 21 feet by 6 feet, 126 square foot front porch. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Is there a second?
Second.
Votes as follows: Aziz,
Aye.
Art,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Your motion carries, you're all set. You're all set. All right?
Do I get something or he gets it?
Okay, motion
Get
to,
it, and then you'll get it.
Yeah, you'll just
Yes.
deal with Matt going forward.
Deal with me going forward. We'll get everything all wrapped up for you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.